As per usual with these character retrospectives, we are just covering the first 24 issues of the Skybound comic written by Daniel Warren Johnson. Once Robert Kirkman wraps up his time as the writer, we can revisit these characters. That shouldn't be too big of an issue with this guy, though. Astrotrain's introduction into the Energon universe is an explosive one. In issue number 8, the Decepticons have returned to the Nemesis and under Soundwave's command, release their own prisoner from the brig. Astrotrain is a force to be feared. As Thundercracker questions if releasing this madman is even the right choice, something he soon regrets being around for. Astrotrain speaks in a very poetic way. It's easy to assume that the reason he simply doesn't reveal Megatron as his mortal enemy from the start is so that Soundwave can make this reveal, and I'm sure that's a part of the writing process here. But as we will see later, I feel as if there was thought put into how Astrotrain articulates himself. We may see him as a brute, but again, he is quite poetic when he explains exactly how he will kill his captor. Furthermore, he makes Soundwave swear that when Megatron is found, he will not get in the way. This could support an idea that I've always been fascinated with when it comes to DWJ's Decepticons, being that they're not just simple-minded brutes, as we've been saying, but a people with a sort of code they live by, a way of life, something that we've explored with Thundercracker in the past. Astrotrain's arrival at the Humans' Hospital is another glimpse into him being more than the brawn of the Decepticons. Look how he speaks in these pages, asking for the one with spiky hair. He sympathizes with the Doctor and even admits that he doesn't want to kill lesser beings, but that his mission demands results, and he will do what he must to achieve them. Unlike his brethren, Astrotrain doesn't revel in violence. He's not excited by the opportunity to squish some humans like Starscream was. Astrotrain is even impressed with Spike's bravery, a characteristic he may not have expected from a human. These two end up having a really interesting dynamic, as Astrotrain explains the loss of Cybertron and how they are in search of a solution. Earth is rich in resources and ripe for the taking, but Astrotrain still feels sorry for the humans. Once again, he does not celebrate the destruction of those under him. He simply knows that this is the way of war, the way of the universe. Spike and Astrotrain's conversation is of course cut short by Beachcomber, who ends up being another perfectly chosen character to test the will of our Decepticon enforcer. You see, Astrotrain may have a sense of honor to him, but he is still an enemy to the Autobots. We see this much when the ever-friendly Beachcomber offers him some Energon, to which Astrotrain responds with the threat of violence. He is, after all, chained up pretty good, and after spending who knows how long in the brig, I'm sure he's quite over being a prisoner. He reveals that Shockwave has plans for this fleshy world, that it will all be sewed for Energon, but still, that it is a sad reality. To him, this is just the way things go. It's not fair, it's just reality. Now, Astrotrain is eventually saved by Starscream, when the two of them cut a new deal to overthrow Soundwave. It's the confrontation with Soundwave that reveals the true nature of Astrotrain's hate for Megatron, when it is revealed that his love was ended by the Decepticon Master. Now look, before we go any further, no, I'm not going to theorize who Astrotrain's love was, and no, I'm not going to give into the stupidly meaningless and, quite frankly, homophobic rhetoric that Astrotrain was ruined by being turned quote-unquote gay. Astrotrain's love has not been revealed, so that's that. He had a love, and now they're gone. It's not yet important who the love was, but more so that Megatron is responsible for the end of that love. Astrotrain's unbreakable loyalty to this individual is what keeps him going and reveals that he doesn't really care about sides. Soundwave versus Starscream, it means nothing to him. He will do whatever he has to achieve his own justice. It is this sense of justice, loyalty, and unending hatred that is on full display when Megatron makes his triumphant return. Starscream commands his triple changer to help him escape, but as we learned earlier, Astrotrain does not care about these sides. Gone are the long poetic sentences of Astrotrain, and only a single word remains when he's told to retreat. As we've alluded to before, the Decepticons have a way of life, and it is upheld when Astrotrain challenges Megatron to combat. The challenge is upheld, but Astrotrain is no match for Megatron. After so many years waiting for this moment, the reality of the situation is made clear by Megatron. There is no justice in the world, only strength. He tells Astrotrain that he is an embarrassment to what Decepticons are, most likely because of his unrequited love for another. Astrotrain begs to be put down, refusing to let his dream of justice die out. But sadly, he won't get that. Astrotrain's view of the world, a tragic place where might exceeds right, has come true. Just not with him at the top anymore. His elegant speech and poetic point of view is nothing in the wake of true power like Megatron's. And it is Megatron who ultimately decides the fate of Astrotrain. Beaten and broken, he is brought forth as target practice for all to see. Astrotrain is used as an example for all Decepticons that there is no justice in the world, only terror. Megatron is a fair leader, allowing others to challenge him and even believing in a new Cybertron where all live in peace. The caveat being, you must submit to be a part of that world. Astrotrain would have never submitted, and for that very reason, for holding on to the very concept of love and justice, ultimately, he is punished. Astrotrain is such an interesting character. He's an interesting take on Decepticon idealism. A character who does believe in the rhetoric and, well, I guess the side of the Decepticons, Decepticonism, as other continuities have called it. But it shows you that, and for a lack of a better term, there is a humanity to these characters. They're not all just evil, insane villains. Astrotrain has had a love. Again, we don't know who, and I don't think it's really important who it is. I'm sure we'll get to it at some point in the story, but I think it's clear from Daniel Warren Johnson's writing that he wasn't necessarily concerned as to who this love was, rather that there was a love, and that Astrotrain was this antagonist for Megatron and vice versa. And that's a really interesting way to look at these characters. Because, of course, we always see Starscream and Megatron butt heads, and we've been seeing Starscream and Soundwave butt heads, and that's normal. It's these characters who are fighting for power and fighting for authority. But then you have Astrotrain, who's not fighting for authority over others. He's fighting simply because of this sense of honor. Something or someone has been taken from him, and so he demands justice. And I think when you start to see that unfold in Astrotrain's character at the start of his appearance, it's really commendable, and it's something that you kind of agree with. And I think it's so important that it's done so well like that, because then when ultimately he finally meets his fate at the hand of Megatron, not only does it show Megatron's true power, even when he's, only half of who he is, but it really makes you feel sad for Astrotrain. It really makes you think, man, this guy's a Decepticon. Yeah, he was going to help, bleed Earth dry for Energon. He kidnapped Spike. Who knows what he would have done? He is a bad guy, but man, there's something about him that's commendable and recognizable, and something that we can latch on to, and something that we can relate to. And so to see a character, again, who is a bad guy, but have such a loyal and honest and justice personality to him, to see them get gunned down simply because they hold on to those rules in life is quite tragic. And that's why I think Astrotrain's character is an excellently written and excellently drawn character on the pages from Daniel Warren Johnson and Jorge Corona and Jason Howard as well, who was stepping in there at a time for some of those issues. Really great stuff with Astrotrain. Sad that he's dead, but his death ultimately serves a great purpose. And besides its comics, who knows, he may come back at some point. But for now, I think he's perfectly fine being dead because the totality and the impact of his death has great meaning to it. I want to invite you to my Discord server. You can get access to it through Patreon. It's just $1 to get in. We do game nights, we do movie nights, we do polls. We talk about the new comics and Transformers and the Energon universe that come out monthly. It's a really fun, great time, and I'd love to see you guys there. So there's a link down below on how to join. I hope to see you in there, and see you then.